Hello. Today I'm going to talk about Sun Tzu's approach in military strategic thinking. And as I said before, that the general most important responsibility is analysis of the ground, understand the ground, and then assembling this right sort of the men and weaponry in order to fight and win that ground. Let's start with something very basic. Right? How did Sun Tzu segment the grounds? Now I deliberately put in a video. You can see on top, right, that these are the grounds that Sun Tzu have segmented. How many are there? There are 9 grounds, 9 types of ground that Sun Tzu have identified and analyzed. Now, question of course you ask is, are there only 9? No, I don't think there is only 9, but during that period, all right, 9 is the highest number. So they'll probably start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But then I think 9 is quite comprehensive. Now, of course, most important thing is to acquire Sun Tzu's approach. Strategic thinking is more how he looks at situation and how he phantoms and how he thinks and how he then write down as he's thinking a crystallization of his thoughts. Looking at that diagram before you, the 9 grounds, is there an ordering to the 9 grounds? If you have read Sun Tzu, you will know, right? There is a certain implicit order in his classification of the grounds. And I would say yes, there is an order. And the order starts from the basic of no fighting. This ground, there should not be any fighting at all. And that is called Sun Tzu. I shall not confuse you by putting in the Chinese wording for it, but it's good to go into original words used by Sun Tzu, Sun Tzu. And in that sort of ground, there should not be any fighting. Why? Because that's a ground easy to disperse. And one of the key reasons is that when you find that kind of ground, you find your soldiers cowardly, you may run away. And then of course you have, that is the Qingdi. Qingdi is also one where it's easy to disengage. And therefore Sun Tzu says, right, that those grounds you shouldn't pause. So you start no fighting, no action, then right up to the extreme end. And he concluded the 9th ground is really Sidi, death ground. And in those grounds, he says, be prepared to fight to your death. Now, keyword there you'll find, if you know Chinese a little, right, it is Ce. So given this ground, right, the principle, the Ce, the key principle is this that you have to consider. Now, during that period, spring-autumn period, they don't use a lot of words. They use keywords, and you're supposed to be able to, given those words, to have the line of thinking that to develop from. Then, of course, you find that Sun Tzu also have got another sort of classification you find embedded in this 9 typology, is that there's a ground where you have to, interestingly, have to be thinking all the time. And it is what I call the 8th, that is the 8th ground. And it is weighty. That means it's a place where you're hemming, you're being encircled. Then you have to think afresh. Alright, you have to scheme. You can only win by coming up with a good strategy. That's ground number 8, where you have to really do deep strategic thinking. And of course, you know, there's another ground where, in the grounds where it's dangerous, impossible, you know, ravine and wooded, thickly wooded. Then he says those grounds you must keep on moving. You must keep on moving. So movement is another aspect from which you can look at the classification of the grounds. And of course you'll find that in ground 6, right, and which is 重地, where one that is highly competitive, then the stratagem he prescribed is you must use heavy forces and you must plunder. In other words, those are the grounds where you would, in Ukraine-Russian war context, you will be heavy fighting, heavy bombardment, heavy fighting. Then you'll find also that Sun Tzu also mentioned what they call the fifth ground, where it is on intersectional basis. And that's a place where you should form allies. In other words, different states, you should start to form allies in order to win, to prevail in the war. Right, now this is just a start, right? I always encourage you to read Sun Tzu and then tell yourself, okay, how does he get that thinking? And I've written a whole book on this, Remnants of Ancient Strategies, trying to decipher the roots of his thinking. Mind of Sun Tzu.